in the 6th round, with the 194th overall pick, San Francisco 49ers select running back Elijah Mitchell out of Louisiana Lafayette. All right, Raging Cajun. And just looking at it, this was a pick, and we're going to work from bottom to the top of the draft. This was a pick where you could see just like the talent, right? But I swear, I thought this guy was just this one cut and get upfield type guy, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. And and he has the speed. And before the whole draft, I didn't know a whole lot about him, even though some of my buddies had tweeted about him. So clearly, I wasn't paying attention. They really liked him. One thing that jumped out right away, he weighed in at his pro day and measured in at 5'10", 201 pounds. All right, so that's what he weighed in at his pro day. His playing weight was much different, and what he weighed in at the Senior Bowl was much different. So that led me to believe that he slimmed down for the actual pro day to run his 40. All right. Now, most people, and I've heard this, be said in the 49ers community, he's a smaller back. He's a smaller back. He's not a small back. But if you looked at what the 49ers have him listed at, if you look at what he weighed in at his pro day, it would lead you to believe that this is a back that's not that big. But he plays at more 215 to 220 pounds. So he's not a small back. And I think he slimmed down to run faster. So is he a true 4.38 guy? I don't know about that, but a legit 4.45 guy for sure. For sure, 4.45 guy. All right. So they took Elijah Mitchell, and I was like, damn, okay, you got Elijah Mitchell. Like, what is that saying about the rest of the 49ers running back group? Because at this time, obviously, and we're working backwards, but, they had drafted Trey Sermon. They had Raheem Mostert. They had guys like, Jermichael Hasty. Wilson was healthy at this time. And I'm like, gosh, that's a whole lot of running backs. How's this guy going to make the roster? But my buddies were like, no, he's legit. He was one of my favorite backs in this class. They talked about all the things they liked about him. But the one thing I do like is, and especially what we've been seeing so far, and this is an assessment of where they are right now, a guy who has worked his way up. And one thing, we can say all this stuff about Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and all these other, we can talk about them. But one thing I do appreciate is that, I don't know if they're picking and choosing who they want to do this with, but they do give guys a chance, right? Like this is a 6th round pick. And for whatever reason, he must have been doing the things that they like. And in turn, he was able to get on the field. I think early in camp, while some guys were kind of banged up or down, he was the guy that was starting to get, a role as kind of like a third down back, being able to, be a pass catcher out the backfield and do those things. Well, he clearly has made himself just even more than that, and really their go-to guy. You feel like good, like if you are somebody that's an undrafted guy. Again, I've been in this situation. When I was with the New York Jets, I had no shot. I think I would have had to do extraordinary things, and I thought I played well. If we call my brother up right now, bring my brother up, and I don't even have my banner up. If we call my brother who watched every practice of mine, he'll tell you nah, he was doing his thing. And I did. I was cool. But cool ain't going to cut it in the NFL. You need a lot of things to break your way. No matter what, D. Milliner was going to be on the moment. D. Milliner held out. He was out with a shoulder injury all through OTAs after the draft and everything. Mini camps, didn't participate in any of that. When training camp came, D. Milliner actually held out and waited to get his $12 million guaranteed on his contract. And then as soon as he signed on the dotted lines, boom, he's out there, first group. Well, the 49ers, they operate a little different, and they make kind of, guys kind of earn spots. And I think how they view it is, once you get in the locker room or whatever, everybody's a little equal. Now, there is still some roster politics, but not to the extent, because you have their last pick in the draft, Elijah Mitchell, who's playing more than any other rookie that they have. So Elijah Mitchell, he's someone that definitely has progressed as a runner. The more I watch him, I was looking at him as just kind of this one cut, get upfield guy. Okay, he can he can run through a tackle a little bit, and he has good speed vertically. Didn't think he played to 4.3 speed. He was listed at, but 4.45 guy for sure. And then he gets with the 49ers, and I'm seeing a little wiggle. I'm seeing a little bouncing and step. I think the vision is improving, especially in the open field. I'm seeing all these things that I really like from him, which leads me to believe that, yeah, this guy might be a, a legit RB1. I don't think that's something that most 49er fans were expecting when they drafted him, especially when you looked at the roster that the 49ers had. So it's been really cool seeing the development of Elijah Mitchell. I think he's done an amazing job. There were some other running backs that, other people like. 49ers didn't go for those guys, but 6th-round pick, Elijah Mitchell, the last pick in the 49ers class, he has done a really good job. All right, so we can give them a round of applause for Elijah Mitchell. 194th pick overall. Now, just taking 14 picks before Elijah Mitchell was Talanoa Hufanga. He was taken at pick 180 in the 5th round. And Hufanga out of USC, we did a film breakdown on him. And watching him, it was just like, I feel like he's a step slow here, a step slow there. Like I could see where the lack of speed hinders him. And this is a guy who, another guy, kind of like Elijah Mitchell, slimmed down a whole lot to run, right? Now, it didn't really help Hufanga a whole lot. This is a guy who ran out of pro day. Typically, your pro day times are faster. He was listed at like 6'1", like 215 pounds at USC. And when you watch him play, he looked like that, right? Like he was kind of this stout, kind of thicker guy. And you're like, what is he going to be? Is he going to be in the box? He's going to be a too high guy. Like, how do you utilize him? And some people were thinking, oh, okay, he might move to like this kind of off-ball linebacker type position. Well, he slimmed down to 200 pounds for his pro day and ran his 40 and still ran like in the mid to high 4.6s. Still didn't run very well. And it was like, damn, you lost 15 pounds to run better, and you still kind of you don't have that legit speed. For example, look at a guy like Jaquiski Tart. Tart was listed at like 6'1", like 220 pounds, and ran in the 4.5s, right? Like that's, and he didn't have to slim down to run in the 4.5s. Tart was just a really big athletic safety. Hufanga didn't have that same type of, athleticism. So that was one thing where I'm like, okay, might hurt him a little bit at the NFL level. I'm watching the film. I'm seeing him a step late here, a step there. But you do see that he has instincts. And I think 49ers, we're looking at it, and it's just like, look, at the end of the day, he's a good football player. We'll see if he can be instinctive and if that could take over. So where they drafted him 5th round with a comp pick, number 180 overall, I don't think, no harm, no foul. I think that's a good place for someone like him to see if his instincts can take over and eventually kind of get a good underrated football player. Now we have seen him now. He started with one game, and he's played in other games. I think so. Then it's crazy. Like you see Elijah Mitchell, you see Hufanga. They have started games. They are being productive. They're in games, and Hufanga has flashed. I think in the areas where you figured he would flash with some plays that's just like open field, come down, like play with his hair on fire, showing some instincts. He's done well there. I think in the areas where you think he might struggle a little bit, kind of seen that a little bit, right? Open field against Christian Kirk. Probably don't want that matchup. He got matched up there. That was a good job by Arizona Cardinals, and they got him deep on a 50-yard pass. So he is young, and I know my guy Chris was on here yesterday. He was saying, listen, the rookies, they got to go through some of their growing pains. And one of the growing pains with Hufanga is because he lacks the ideal speed and overall just pure athleticism that you would like for a secondary player nowadays, especially with how the game is spread out. He's going to have to continue to improve his anticipation and understand, like, just the angles that he can and can't take because now everybody's faster. He got outran by James Conner, just completely outran. So that was the 49ers' 5th round pick. All right. 5th round pick, Talanoa Hufanga. Now, they also had 2 more 5th round picks. One, Diamador Lenoir, drafted at pick 172 out of Oregon. And Lenoir was a person who I'm watching him, and immediately everybody's like, nickel, because they look at his like how he's kind of built, right? 5'10-ish, like 190 something, like close to 200 pounds. And he was someone I should pull up his numbers right now. Let's see, Diamador, because I want to see what I go off of film. So anybody that will hold on, Diamador Lenore. Anybody that like has watched any of my evaluations and things like that, I'm trying to look for his numbers. Anybody that has paid any attention to like my evaluations and things like that, I don't go off of numbers. Right now, there are some people that do. Okay, well, he ran 4.44. That's really good. But his vertical jump was 34 and a half. So that's interesting right there, right? Somebody that ran a 4.44 but had a 34-inch vert. So something's not quite matching up, right? Like as far as the explosiveness goes. What was his broad jump? His broad jump was 9 something, then he ain't no 4.4 guy. All right, let's look at it. Panay Sewell, Javon Holland, Thomas Graham. Damn, all the verticals were kind of. Where's Lenore? What the heck? Oh, here we go. 10-foot broad jump. Not bad. 7023 cone. Not bad. All right. But looking at Diamador Lenore, a lot of people are like, oh, that's a nickel. He's a nickel. He's a nickel. And I'm like, man, like, let's see. Like, I'll watch him. And I thought he played well on the outside. He was scrappy. We did a film session on him. I thought he did some really good things from off coverage, press coverage. I thought he was a versatile corner. I thought he was comfortable playing off, playing press. And I was like, you know what? This is a good guy. I'm interested to see him on the outside. I don't think that he's just purely a nickel guy. Then I watched him in the NFL, watched him in the preseason. And I noticed one thing right away. When he was running vertical with guys, he played well. He played well. When he was running vertical with guys, he struggled to kind of get his head around. And it was a consistent thing, right? Like, I know you guys be like, 49ers corners never get their heads around. They do. You guys just don't care when they do. Or you'll just be like, oh, finally got their head around. They do. But one thing with him is he never really did. So that told me like, he's having a tough time a little bit keeping up with guys vertically. Let me see if it happens again. So then next game happened again, got beat on a vertical, but they overthrew the ball. I'm like, I think he lacks the ideal vertical speed. Now I remember one year, Kyle Shanahan, someone asked him, what do you have to do to be a good outside receiver? Like, what do you look for in the outside receiver? And he's like, you got to be able to win vertically. So when corners, I kind of take that same approach. You have to be able to cover vertically to be a legit outside cornerback, whether it's with your length or your speed. And I thought he lacked a little bit of both. That's what it looked like. So then I'm like, you know what? I think he is more of a nickel. But he had to play a whole lot of outside. It's just me thinking. I think Lenore had to play a lot of outside early on. I don't know if that was the plan for him, but they were hurt in the secondary. You had Mosley, he missed time. And then you had, Verrett, he had missed some time with it, right? To the point where they end up starting, Amber Thomas and Diamador Lenore. We'll get to Amber Thomas. But I think they ideally wanted him to be more of a nickel guy, but then they had to throw him outside because of the injury. So he plays well. So they're like, all right, he's starting first 2 weeks. I think it was the Lions game. He got beat on a vertical, but the ball was overthrown. Obviously, in the Eagles game, he got beat vertically twice. One, he did a good job of squeezing the guy to the point where he kind of stepped out of bounds before like catching the ball and running off on him. But again, showed me the speed. And then he got beat by Kez Watkins for like a 91-yard play. And it was just, I don't know if he's ever going to be able to truly do something about the lack of vertical speed. But I think he profiles as a tremendous nickel guy, because if you watch Diamador Lenore on underneath stuff, he was sticky. He's breaking up passes. He's knocking stuff away. He's challenging guys. He really was a big part of holding Devontae Smith to 2 catches for 16 yards. He broke up a pass vertically as well. I think he showed enough really good things to where I'm like, okay, nickel, like he can be a legit nickel in the NFL, but that's a totally different position. It's totally different. I know you guys look at it as just defensive back, right? DB, cornerback, right? You're a corner, play on the outside, playing nickel, you're a cornerback. No, there's so much more. There's actually so much more that goes to playing the nickel position that it's just a tough transition. So I figured there will be that kind of transition period. Now, on the outside, he did also, Diamador Lenore played against the Green Bay Packers. And did he play against them the whole game, though? No, because he got called for the PI on the slot fade, which I thought he did a good job on the slot fade. I think they lost Josh Norman that game, because why was he on the outside at the end of the game? Anyways, he was on the outside at the end of the game, and a couple of plays happened that weren't great for him. One, there was kind of this like pattern match, and I think they had like trips to the left, and you had two guys break in, and you had the three guy run a corner route, and he squeezed that in from the outside from the one a little too much, and that kind of prevented him from being able to get back right now on the corner route, and the ball went right over his hand. I think we see that, and we see the play where he gave up on, and everybody blamed D'Amico Ryans, but D'Amico Ryans had a bracket on Devontae Adams. They're supposed to be playing two man. Two man, you're supposed to get in the trail position to undercut any in or out breaking route. And Devontae Adams ran in, and that's where Diamador Lenore is supposed to undercut that. That was the last play to get them in field goal range. Diamador Lenore is supposed to be underneath and undercut that, while Hufanga was over the top of him. I think if you want to blame D'Amico Ryans for anything right there, it's for putting two rookies in that position. All right. And so you had him, he's supposed to be trailing. Instead, he was on top of Devontae Adams and outside. So he was a little confused or whatever. And I don't think we've seen him since. Now, my thing with that is, well, at what point is it like, well, just let's use those things as learning lessons, right? Like, okay, I have to learn from that. I think both of those things are very correctable. It wasn't like a physical limitation thing. It was just a mental lapse of not truly understanding because you're a rookie and maybe not being in those type of positions. So I would like to see him active. I would like to see him playing. I would like to see them work him in. The fact that they're not, it's a little interesting.